Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high level best of 3 between, in the bottom left here, spawning as our red Zerg player, opening up without a gas. It is dark. And then in the top right as our blue Protoss player, it's going to be Cyan here. Cyan, Chinese player that has been doing quite well as of late, taking out some big names every now and again, and especially in the PvZ matchup. I feel like he's been shining. He really has been. And Dark here opening up with what is often known as the, I think it's a 15-15, 15 hatch, 15 pool, with an overpool in there as well. Which means that you, I think you get the overlord and then you get the pool while you're still supply blocked at 15 supply, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very common build order these days in the Zerg versus X matchup. In ZVZ, ZVT and CVP, it's being played, a build that has been popularized and invented, from what I'm aware of, by Eric, the Brazilian Zerg player. A lot of people have started playing it. Just the safety it gives you. What is this, by the way? Quick warp grade here coming in for Cyan. Okay. I kind of dig that. Still feels like he's opening with a Stargate though, isn't he? Yeah. Look at that. So this is what we call fake warp gate. Despite there not really being anything fake here at all. Dark, however, is not going to get tricked by this. Just sends his Ling in straight away. It's going to get the spot here on that Stargate. That is freaking huge. It really is. Now, why is that big? It's because if, as a Zerg player, you scout the warp gate on your opponent's side of the map, instantly starting the moment the core finishes, usually your mind goes to Twilight Council, and you actually need to prepare for a Twilight Council. Now, how does Dark often prepare for Twilight Council builds? Is by getting a second gas and a very fast Roach Warren. Not everyone plays it like this. There are a lot of Zerg players that play single gas into just Roaches, but Dark wants to get Ravagers out, and that's why he needs to get the second gas. However, when you're fighting a Stargate and you have quick 2 gases and a quick Roach Warren, that costs you a lot of money. And on top of that, most of the time, you're not even going to be ready with a Spore, so you might end up losing a couple extra drones as well. So I feel like against Dark, going for these fake warp gates is just a very powerful way of playing, generally. And the fact that Dark managed to just kind of, undo any potential damage by sending in that Ling is pretty big. These 2 Adepts are getting way more damage than I think they ever should in any game. 4 drone kills, a full pull away on the drones as well. If this Adept gets to live, that would be freaking huge. Doesn't get the final drone, misses that shot, and it's just going to end up dying here, right? Ling speed has already finished up, but this is a pretty big deal. 4 workers, a full pull away here from the main mineral line. That was a lot of damage that's being dealt as this Void Ray now makes its way across the map. Is going to take out this Overlord right away. There's another Overlord here on the top side as well. If Cyan is aware of that, that's going to just be a lot of damage here in the first, 4 minutes and 20 seconds of this game. Oh, Void Ray instead is just going to make it towards this base where there are 2 drones mining. This OV just barely doesn't get spotted. That would have been real nice. That would have been kind of big. As at the same time, these Lings, trying to take out all of them Adepts, will not quite manage to do it. There's 14 more Lings in production here. And although not that many workers have gone down to the Void Ray or to the Oracle, a lot of workers have gone down due to Lings being produced. Look at that, 22 Lings now in production. And I'm not entirely sure why. What is the plan here for Dark? There's no Baneling Nest. There is no Queens there. Okay, now the Queens start walking. I mean, by the time that these Queens are going to arrive on the other side of the map, all the Lings will be dead already. There is just absolutely no way that these Queens are going to make a vital contribution here into the fight. And as I say that, Lings do get the surround on the first Adept. Battery most likely is going to get cancelled here as well. Yep, there we go. New battery wants to start as Baneling Nest does go down fairly late. New battery on the way. I'd love to see a battery in the natural as well. Just for safety's sake, as 6 Queens walking across the map. And these Oracles are going to end up spotting that. In a way, that's a very good spot. Because it tells you, hey, this is serious commitment here to this push. Serious commitment to this attack. 54 workers to 37. I do not believe that Cyan needs to build any more workers. All of his attention, all of his minerals should be sunk into static defense or into units. That's it, nothing else. Maybe a gateway for extra walling or potential better production. Oracles are going to activate their pulsar beams here. But here comes the real push, because now the banelings are moving on in. And we don't have a sentry quite yet. Okay, here it comes. One more force field is available. Super battery needs to be activated here as well, I think at least. So far, we haven't quite seen it yet. As these batteries now are being taken out, Cannon stays alive, at least for now. Oracle's doing a pretty decent job here as well. This Oracle with 2 kills is Void Ray with actually not that many kills on these units, but they have dealt quite a bit of damage, I can only imagine. Double Stalker Warp in here. The gateway count is at 4, as every single air unit but this one Oracle is going to end up dying. Cannon's still alive, but there's also just so many gateway units still here, and these links do not have +1. If this was an attack with +1 on the links, on the melee upgrade, I'd say, hey, this was great, Dark. Dark probably would have killed this third base. Dark probably would have taken out that cannon real fast. Dark would right now be dancing in his opponent's natural, but that's not the case at all here. Dark currently has 37 drones against 58. He has 30 links, and now, given there's only 3 adepts currently defending, that's not a whole lot, but we still have a little bit of energy on one of them Oracles. We have a lot of static defense as well, and sentries are going to be super useful in this defense. More and more links on the way. Here comes a force field. That was good enough apparently. That doesn't look like it fits, but apparently it does. The next force field is, jeez, absolutely awful, as 11 workers will end up falling, and that's going to allow Dark, or at least it makes Dark believe that he can now just go back into macro. Builds 8 drones instantly, gets that 4th hatchery out as well. Probably wants to start the +1 melee at some point. I'm not so sure though. I am not so sure if Dark can just say 1, 2, 3, time for a macro game. And he can say it, but that doesn't make it quite true yet. These are also bad trades, I think. Losing, what, 8, 9, 10 links to kill 2 probes? Don't think that's necessarily brilliant at this point in time. Love to see a robotics facility coming out of Cyan. We have a Templar Archive. That makes a lot of sense, because he's fighting against Pureling armies, or has been fighting against Pureling armies for quite a while. Dark with the anticipation of this move as well, which is obviously correct. Going for +1 range and the Roach Warren. He says, hey, I don't think you're going to be massing Immortals against the Pureling Bane army. You're probably wanting to transition into Charge Lock Archon. And he's kind of preempting that here by getting a couple of Roaches out. He's getting that +1 range as well, but Dark is in a terrible, terrible spot. He's downing workers while playing Roach, and that is exactly the position where you don't want to be in live. Generally, Lair's about to finish up. It's going to allow him to get that Glial Reconstitution. It's still only on 5 gas. Now 5 gas might be fine if you're playing Ravager Ling Bane, but I think he's just playing Mass Roach Ravager, maybe into Hydra. If he can. Like, ideally he'd be capable of getting into Lurker, right? That would be really sick for him. As Cyan already realizing that there's going to be a lot of Roaches, getting those double robotics facilities. Now, this is one of the scenarios where I wouldn't even mind if he just plops down a Robo Bay as well. Gets just like 3, 4 Immortals, 1, 2 Colossi, and then just Disruptors. I feel like that's such a strong composition against what he's going to be up against. This is a wild spot as well for a 4th base, by the way. It's really quite open. You have these rocks that can be taken out, making it hard to defend this natural area as well. So you can never really take this base as a 4th, unless you're extremely far ahead, which currently is the case, of course, here for our DOS player. Nice surround. Well, nice enough surround. Gets like 20 links there for free. Stasis Ward doing God's work. As Double Adepts now shading in towards the 4th, but Roaches are in position, so that's not really going to be much of an issue, is it here? And they are going to try and finish. Yeah, get 2 kills. Not the end of the world. Yeah, it feels like Dark wants to transition out of this, but he is basically Roach maxing on 66 drones, and there's a very reasonable chance here, a realistic chance that he might just die. Prism heads in towards the main base. There's no Overlord spotting that. That means that these Zealots will be capable of dealing quite a bit of damage. And every drone kill here is 1 too many. Look at that. 77 to 62. 5th base could be thrown down here for Cyan as well, as he gets another 8 Zealots extra into the main base. On top of the 4 that were already there. This Lair in serious trouble right now. There's not even Roach speed yet. Oh my god. This is pure chaos. Oracle's moving in. GG. And Cyan wins game number 1. Next map here is going to be Oceanborn. So we had a hatchery block. Look at that. This bad boy over on the 3rd base. Little drone in the middle. becomes bigger and bigger until it gets eaten by the building. I think that's how I don't think that's very lore accurate, but it's close enough. See the building still move. It's the soul of the drone induced in the hatchery. Dun dun dun. See what the plans here are this time around for Cyan. Once again, with a similar start. Warp Gate, Adept. Chrono on the Adept this time. Doesn't want to get run by once more. Look at that, 6 links. Is this just a link flood? No. You have another drone on the way. That's a lot of links though. We don't usually see that. Wants to send these 2 bad boys across the map. See if we can deal a bit of damage. Maybe get some scouting information with 2. They might be capable of doing just that. Second Chrono as well here on these Adepts. And Dark is seeing all of this. It's not really adding anything though, huh? He's saying, hey, these links are going to be good enough at denying stuff. That was a fake send out with that first Adept. That was a cool move. Gonna get a kill here on one of these links at least. Probably capable of getting it on 2 as well, but it does mean that these Adepts are most likely not going to make it across the map. Not in time before speed finishes. Look at this. Dark is just dancing here. Dancing with links. He's looking for an opportunity to just run in. I don't think he's going to get it. This should be a cancel. I'd be surprised if this finishes. Wow. Okay, I'm actually kind of surprised. These links also end up getting spotted. This is a really awkward dance that we're seeing here. As Cyan, I mean, he seems to want to commit. I'm not entirely sure about that. There's 10, 11 links out, right? 10 links. Should be capable of getting at least 1 Adept here. One Adept goes down, loses 3 links, alright. 4 links for 1 Adept. Still a good trade for the link player. Definitely is. Oracle now moving across the map. There's not enough defense here to get this third base up. That's the downside, of course, of losing that Adept. So this probe is going to fall at the same time, though. Oracle coming in. Adept popping in as well. It's going to get 1 kill on these drones. Yeah. Oracle got 2 there. Some damage at least. Third Oracle now on the way here as well. So this Nexus is going down, but it's been delayed by about 20 seconds. Now, what is the impact of 20 seconds on a game? It's hard to say, but you're going to oversaturate your natural for a little bit longer, which sucks. So that means you're losing efficient mining time. And on top of that, 20 seconds is also a probe and a half. So you're just going to be down a probe and a half of building time on your third Nexus. So yeah, it's not great. It's probably going to cost you somewhere between 150 and 200 minerals, I'd say. Let's take a straight up cost. I think that's fair to say. Just kind of spitballing numbers here. 4 more Overlords on the way as Dark with some truly atrocious macro today. Look at that. 5 Ovies, practically doubling his Overlord count here. 5 minutes into the game. It is kind of crazy how often we see this with Zergs. I've made this point before in the past. But if you were to see a Terran player throw down 7 depots 5 minutes into the game, you'd call him an idiot, right? It's like, what is this? Like, this is terrible. Like, this is just completely inefficient. And it's the same with Protoss. Like, you can't just throw down 5, 6 pylons all at once and say, okay, I don't want to think about supply for the next few minutes. And Dark does it fairly frequently. And I really do believe it has a massive impact on his eco. In a negative way, obviously. As I believe he might be going for what is known as the German taxi. This build has been invented by Lambo, and thus the German. And the taxi, because you put, well, queens into a little overlord, that brings them to the other side of the map. Dark here, 53 workers. Is that 5 gas? That's a lot of gas for the German taxi. I believe he usually do it with 4. Maybe he took him a little bit later. That's possible. Once those high numbers. Gonna go with 6 queens majority of the time. Double overlord boys. This time we're only seeing a single one so far. No second overlord popping off quite yet. So it's going to be 1 queen per base and then 4 overlords on the other side of the map. There we go. Immortals on the way. Last time Cyan defended fairly well against the aggression that Dark threw at him. On top of that, this build is also hitting extremely late. For no real reason. This should be hitting a solid, well, 15 to 25 seconds faster. Actually, I think it should definitely be hitting like 25 seconds faster here. This is extremely late. It really is extremely late. I mean, there's no Ravagers quite yet. They should be morphed in. Okay, we have 1 in the back there. 4 queens now pop off. Battery needs to be activated. There's not that many units, though, here for Cyan, but there really isn't that many units here for Dark either. Has lost one queen already. As an Immortal now pops out, we see 6 Ravagers morphing in the middle of the battle, but there's no damage output here whatsoever. And this is absolutely bonkers. I mean, this is... yeah, this is just not good. This is just not good here by Dark. This has been very poor out of our Korean Zerg player. I give this move 2 stars. That is a very low amount of stars to receive for a move. Especially because I like this build. Usually when I see this build, I just get 4 or 5 stars instantly. And then depending on the execution, 4 or 5. Because it's a good build. But this build was executed so poorly here with a bad early game. That this is a 2 out of 5 star build. Holy crap. That's gonna hurt his reputation, let me tell you that much. If Harstem magazine rates you as 2 stars, that's a death sentence for your restaurant, my friend. No one's gonna eat there anymore. Burned restaurants to the ground with a 3 out of 5 rating. Getting a 2 out of 5 rating? Yikes. It's gotta hurt the ego as well, you know? Dark's listening back to this cast. So I gotta be happy with this. We have a hive on the way here for Dark. Infestation pit as well. 3 drones going down. Poof, poof, poof. Come on, Mr. Adept. Have a good time. Have a good time. Oracle's not okay. Cyan's actually playing really well, by the way. Average APM of 230. This is insanely low for a professional player. Insanely low. You know, you don't need to click fast if every click you make is perfect. And that's what's happening here with Cyan. He's the perfect player. He really is. Gonna be fighting against a less than perfect army composition. It's gonna be Roach into Hydra. I guess Lurker is the end goal here. Lurkers are still quite a long way away though. Let's face it, no 8 gases yet. Usually when you're playing Lurkers, you want to kind of do it off 10 gases. Because it's really difficult to afford everything that you need. The Hydras, the Lurkers, the upgrades, the eventual, you know, the Vipers that you need. All of that stuff. So you're gonna need to get up to 10 gas at some point, but there's not even a 5th hatch on the way. We're 9 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, and this is once again a very poor position. This is typical Dark as well, by the way. It's like puts himself into a terrible position and then has to fight for the next 15 minutes in the game to just get even again. Then once he gets to the late game, he's practically unbeatable. Like, Dark is insane at late game fights. Dark is insane in mid game fights as well, by the way. He just kills people so easily. He is so ridiculously good at fighting, like unit control. It is scary. It really is scary. Like, if Dark ever figures out that you shouldn't build 6 Overlords in a row in the first 4 minutes of the game, he's legit gonna be unbeatable. He is so good. It's actually crazy. Yeah, his game understanding is so sick. The way that he sets up fights, the way that he counterattacks when it's necessary. Just doesn't get hit by disruptors most of the time either. Oh. Fortress one of these stasis is up with a single Ling. There's adios, Mr. Ling. Time for you to be frozen in time. They call this guy Walt Disney. He's gotta be woken up in a while. Wake up in a world that he doesn't recognize. And then he dies. Nice one. Couple of Lurkers now out. Seismic Spine's halfway done. Cyan's on the map though, and he's maxed out. And he's feeling solid. Feeling groovy maybe even. Feeling groovy. Just moving forward. There's not that many Lurkers here. That's the problem, isn't it? Oh, steppy. There comes the first abduct, and there comes a blinding cloud. There comes another abduct. Actually, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this shouldn't be a close fight. There's freaking 10 Archons here, 3 Immortals, 3 Disruptors. Dark with insane control here. Now he's pushing it a bit too far, perhaps outside of Lurker range. But the start of that fight was so sick. Holy cow. Now actually in a bit of trouble though. Did push it a bit too far in my mind, as there's no Lurkers remaining. The Immortals are moving in forward. Zealots chasing these Ravagers away, and Cyan, despite a poor start of that fight with that Zealot reinforcement there, Prism coming in handy, is probably just going to be capable of pushing in through as the hatchery gets taken out. That means it's now 5 base versus 3. This is probably gonna get cleaned up anyway, unless there are more zealots that can move in forward. And there's a bunch of zealots here. You're definitely moving forward. Stasis is not gonna get activated. No, it's gonna get activated. Disruptor flank coming in from the right side of the map here. Gonna take out 2 of them Hydras. Disruptor does get taken out. GG. Oh no. Oh. That was a long G. He held it down for a couple of seconds. Zergs have the very fast repeat rate, so you get it quick. But that's a solid 1.5 seconds that he put in there. You know, that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of time that Dark said he was upset. Okay, there might have been a smash on the keyboard after this. There might have been a cheeky little smash on the keyboard after this. He was not happy whatsoever. Well done though by Cyan. Both games just defending so solid here in the early game, and you could say, well, we're in real games, you know, you just defended an all-in and then leverage this advantage. Like, yeah, but that's something that most people are not capable of doing against Dark. Like, defending an all-in against Dark is something that a lot of people do on a weekly basis, but then leveraging that into a win, now that is a rare skill, and Cyan did it twice in a row here. Impressive stuff out of the Chinese Toss, who seems to be in pretty decent shape in the past few weeks, past few months. Lovely to see. Hope to see him continue rising. And that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.